We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We're Baltimore positive. I somewhere around here, I threw my lottery ticket away back into the back end of my hutch here when I went away to Pittsburgh this weekend. I got to find my. I think I may have put him in my bag for the next Maryland Crab Cake Tour, but I will have scented scratch offs from the Maryland Lottery and the Candy Cane Cash. They're in my bag. I also got some mints at the courtyard in Monroeville, Pennsylvania on Sunday night that are candy canes. So I have real candy canes as well. And I have those for my friends. I feel like Santa Claus at Christmas time when friends pitch in, especially when you wind up having what you think is a slow leak, but winds up being a cracked wheel on New Year's Eve at 4 o'clock. And you have to know a guy or a girl. You have to know someone, a they, it could be anyone, and say, can you help me? And I reached to Dennis Koulatsos. It was not the first time I've reached to Dennis Koulatsos, but it was my last official act of 2025, and the Ravens weren't eliminated yet. And I said, Dennis, I got a slow leak that's a cracked wheel. I need help. It's New Year's Eve. I got to drive to Pittsburgh on Sunday for the big game because Mike Tomlin's leaving me tickets. And Dennis, once again, whoever does these commercials, Snoop Huntley comes in the clutch, does the relief pitcher commercials, you know what I mean? You came in and performed like Jeff Hostetler. You came in and performed like who was the guy that won it for the Eagles? I'm trying to come up with Nick Foles.
Ah,
You were like a Nick Foles. You came in, you were like Winston Wolfe in Pulp Fiction. Oh, boom. How about that? Is that good?
hey, that's how we roll here in Baltimore, baby. Baltimore positive. Always looking to be of service to others, and it's always a pleasure and a privilege, Nestor.
I'm Dennis Koulatsos. I solve problems.
I don't know. Some people tell you create problems too. So let's
Well, you got my
let's be
wheel
fair.
fixed, and I am appreciative. Dennis Koulatsos has been with Coons Ford a million years. He's been a host, a friend, a sponsor, a golfer, a fisherman. But I'm not here to talk about the past, Dennis Koulatsos. I'm here to talk about the present and future. You and I've done a lot of talk about ownership and leadership and management and money and business and sports and modern culture. And you sell cars for a living. Um, at one point, one of the Ravens vice presidents said to me, that he has a press box named after him. You're not bringing that car dealer around, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, the car dealer like knows a lot about the NFL and the draft, and like I've invited the car dealer out to Indianapolis several times for the combine because when I bring him on, he talks combine. But you and I talked ownership and these key pivotal moments, and I couldn't think of anything driving down the hill 4 hours on Monday after freezing my ass off on Sunday, but having a great time. I had a really fun time. The game was fun. It was the first time I've been to a game in 3 years. Couldn't see the game because I'm down low. Tomlin gave me a lower deck seat. I could have walked in the upper deck because they didn't sell all their tickets. I could have gone back up to the roof and probably seen the game better. But it was like I was with nice people. It was fine, But driving home, I thought to myself, all right, so Luke and I are going to do 4 hours of Bisciotti, Harbaugh, DaCosta. I got to get Dennis on the show. I have a feeling that you have some thoughts that are coming to you in regard to really a key off season for them because this is the most disappointing season they've had maybe ever given the talent on the field and what they were supposed to be.
Well, Nestor, I'm going to give you a different slant. I think I am going to be Baltimore positive today because I'm grateful for the team. I'm grateful for the season, given they started out 1-5. Right? I think the fan base has forgotten the deep hole that this team dug, being without Lamar Jackson, the tough early schedule, and for them to be able to come back and have a shot in the waning seconds of getting to the playoffs, I thought was a remarkable feat. The other piece for me, Nestor, as I said to you the last time you and I were together, was that I'm viewing the NFL as sports entertainment, right? Because the referees do have an outcome. They do have a say in the outcome of the game. So ever since the Isaiah Likely no catch, no touchdown in the end zone against the Steelers, I've kind of backed off, and I just want to be entertained to a point where I almost don't care who wins. I want to see a good game. And guess what? If you weren't a Ravens fan or a Steelers fan, if you were just a fan of the NFL, guess what? We saw a great game that had a bit of everything. I mean, I couldn't believe the Steelers faithful booing their team with 42 minutes left in the game. I mean, are these people for real? There was a lot of time left on the clock. So you get that. You get the tush push, which I absolutely hate. They're turning this game into rugby. And this thing had all the elements that you'd want as a football fan. So the outcome wasn't what we wanted, Nestor, but you know what? I was highly entertained for 60 minutes.
What do you expect out of the Ravens here in the offseason in regard to improvement? Um,
I don't expect a whole lot. I mean, you got a Hall of Fame coach. He had a bit of a meltdown after the loss to the Patriots. He realized that he had to be more involved, more of a guardrail for both the offensive and defensive coordinator, which is why we saw him carrying that sheet. That way, he was more aware of what was happening in the game. But if I'm Steve Bisciotti, look, they got to tweak a couple of things, maybe perhaps more so on the defensive side of the ball versus the offensive side of the ball. But all is not lost, and I think they just need to block out all the noise and do what's best for them. I don't think they need to change a ton. Do they need to make a tweak here or there? Absolutely, but I wouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
okay, so I mean, you really do have a different
Yeah, I
view
do. I
on
mean,
that.
because well, you know what, negativity and it is it's easier. It takes more energy to be positive than negative, right? Anybody can be. The misery loves company. But to look for the silver lining, um, look, you're not going to make the playoffs every year. We've been very spoiled here as a fan base. Yeah, we haven't won a Super Bowl. We haven't won many playoff games, but this is a very relevant team in the NFL year in and year out. We're not the Cleveland Browns. We're not the Arizona Cardinals. We're not the Cincinnati Bengals. And so for me, I don't think John Harbaugh is getting dumber as he gets on in age here. I think he's getting smarter, just like Mike Tomlin. And they have a great foundation. So a lot of times what we perceive as being wrong to us is they're I think they're going to stay true to who they are. I don't expect many changes in the organization or the coaching staff.
I think people that see you on your YouTube see your shoulders a little wider than mine. You played a little football, you had on the line,
A little
offensive
bit,
line,
a little bit.
EVT, all that stuff. Um, the notion that the lines got pushed around most of the year, and I think that that's my assessment, and certainly was my assessment the other night again. The lack of pass rush and the fact that the Steelers brought it pretty good after Lamar, and Lamar went over their head a couple of times and made a couple of plays, which you have to do, but the Ravens didn't have sustained drives, finishing drives, all that kind of thing. Still almost won the football game. Talk about the kickers. Either way, I mean, the Steelers kicker missing an extra point, which was crazy, that opened the door. He would have been the GOAT there for sure. And the DK Metcalf part of him not playing. But the line play for the Ravens and the lack of pass rush against a 42-year-old quarterback, that's what did them in for me. That they just weren't good enough in the trenches most of the time, really.
I'm with you. If I'm Eric DaCosta, I know he wants to pick the best player available, but yeah, I probably at number 14, I'm picking the best edge rusher available. Second round, I'm probably picking the guard. Third round, I'm probably picking a guard or a tackle. Fourth round, I'm going after another edge rusher. I'm going to double and triple down on what this team needs. I think smart football people built their teams from the trenches out. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles in most recent history; they've had an outstanding offensive line and defensive line. So I would gravitate towards the Lions, as you said. I was a fullback in high school and college. I was a crash dummy, so I always understood the importance of the offensive line. I was a third guard on the field when I was in offense, but they have to get better. To your point on the trenches, they have enough weapons to get it done, but I would definitely fortify the trenches.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. What are you doing these days? You're running dealerships still, right? Tell me about your cars.
We are business is good. My 21st year actually now here at Coons Ford of Baltimore, and we look to get better from the trenches out too. We get support from Ford Motor Company, 0% financing everywhere, and business is good, Nestor, thanks to our a repeat and referral customer base that we have.
I own one terrible towel, and it's pink. And it was given to me when I entered the stadium whenever the Ravens wore pink. I think it's from the Ray Lewis era. Ed Reed, I mean, it's 20 years, it's falling apart. But it is a terrible towel, and it's pink. And I was going to take it to Pittsburgh so I could fit in. And I looked at it, and the only thing on it that was color that wasn't pink or white was this big blue Ford logo on it. And of course, my wife's maiden name is Ford. So I held it up for her, and I'm like, look, it's a terrible towel. It's got your name on it. So anyway, I did not take it, but nonetheless, Dennis Koulatsos is here. The terrible towel thing, I just will say this being in the stands, and I was relatively neutral in the stands. I had a green and gold Canaries Norwich soccer hat on because Neil's the man who saved my wife's life. His brother is an athletic trainer with that team. So he sent me hats and mittens, and I was just looking for a really warm hat and had a lining in it on a 20 degree. So I put it on. It sort of looks like Dundalk. It sort of looks like quite frankly, a marijuana plant. It has this sort of bush on it. It's not, but it just has these little bushes on it, and it says Canaries on it. But I'm in the stands. I have my Michelin Man outfit on to stay warm that has I purchased that at the NFC Championship game in 1997 in Green Bay. When I saw the Green Bay Packers play Carolina, it was 5 degrees that day, and I bought that at a store in Green Bay. It's a hunting outfit from Green Bay. So I'm wearing this stuff, and I get there before the game. You've been to a Steelers game in Pittsburgh ever?
I have never been there. No.
I got in to the stadium about 8 o'clock for an 8:20 kickoff. The 20 minutes leading up to it, they have this routine they do that if you go, and I forgot that they do it, right? And in the press box, it's kind of quiet in the press box. You know what I mean? You feel like you're in an office. So I don't hear year after year after. I mean, I've been in that stadium 3 hours before kickoff 20 times, but I've only been in the stands 5 or 6 times, and it's been a little while where I was there early enough to get all the revelry. But they have all of these songs they play. They have a Pittsburgh polka song, and we cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, and it has bouncing balls and Lynn Swan and Terry Bradshaw and Dan Pastorini and everybody sings, we cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's a polka thing. And I'm there and the towels come out, right? I'm getting my head whipped by towels in every
Yep.
direction. And I'm thinking, look, man, I'm not even wearing Raven stuff, and nobody's calling me names like these two pretty girls behind me where the Barstool Sports crowd came in and thought it was manly to, yell awful things to girls that look like your daughter, right? So like that's Pittsburgh, and that's the NFL. That's the NFL. It's not Pittsburgh, but mostly it was good cheer for the most part. But those damn towels go around and they hit you in the head, and
Yep.
I'm thinking it's amazing more Steelers fans don't fight each other because like I don't want to be hit in the head with towels at the game, but that's that's Pittsburgh. When you go, you're going to get hit in the head with towels. You are. And it might be on purpose if you're wearing purple, and because that could happen too. But I'm just thinking like it was an environment then. I mean, it was a scene. It really was. It was electric in that building
No,
before the game started.
I'm sure it was a couple of things, Nestor, in regard to the game. Back when I played, you couldn't help the runner. You couldn't aid the runner's progress, right? So I'm really getting tired of seeing offensive linemen pick up running backs or quarterbacks and push them towards the end zone. I'm referring to the Haywards, Cameron Hayward picking up his brother, and I mean, that's rugby to me, Nestor. That should be disallowed. I would hate it if the Ravens did it, right? Um, the way that they're going on the fast count could lead to more injuries. I just think they should take rugby out of the game.
Okay, that's competition committee off season
I'm
here.
serious. I'm getting tired of seeing it. I mean, they're picking these guys up in the middle of the field and they're pushing them another 10, 15 yards forward. That's not football to me.
I would say this for the last thing and leave you with this on Lamar because I mean he's going to be in the middle of all of this. Lamar being able to play the game at a normal level for himself on Sunday night, I thought that was very attractive and certainly very like he did enough to win the game.
He did do enough to win the game. The interesting part about him, though, Nestor, is we know the absence of an agent, right? So agents talk to general managers. It never gets personal. It usually doesn't get personal between the team and the player, ideally, and that's why you have that buffer. But with him, he has a no trade clause, so he can just make them pay him, right? He doesn't have to renegotiate his contract. That's going to be a fascinating story in the offseason. What his mindset is, because nobody knows.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and I keep saying this, and Luke and I fight about it, and I'm like, this is where he gets to decide if he wants to be here or not, because like if he wants to force his way out, if he doesn't like John, if he doesn't like cold weather, if he just thinks that this is that they haven't done enough for him, who knows? He might not even like Chad Steele. I'm just saying this is the off season for him, the inflection point of how he's played, what he's been, get cheated out of the MVP, the injury this year, how they feel about an aging version of Lamar. That is he going to be good enough when the wheels are gone to be worth $65 million. I don't know. I don't think you're going to like Lamar as an aging quarterback without the ability to run. I think Lamar without the not the ability, not the fake ability to run where it's a decoy thing. I mean the real ability to run. And like I had Mike Tanier on from Two Deep Zone earlier. He's like, Lamar got caught from behind a couple times the other night. That never happened for
Okay.
years. And you're going to see more of that as he gets older. And probably less when some 22-year-old, 23-year-old cornerback is chasing a 30, 31-year-old
Okay.
beaten up man. He's not going to be able to scramble 92 yards for touchdowns the way he had that ability on every play that you had to account for that in 19, 20, 21, 22. Maybe not so much in 26, 27, and 28 for where
Right.
he is. And I think that should be part of the conversation in regard to paying him, keeping him, especially if he doesn't want to be here, especially if he and the coach aren't simpatico. This is the time for all of that. And you're coming off an 8-9 season where the quarterback was banged up and his cap number goes to 74 million. So like there's there's going to something's going to happen here. That this is going to be a combustible offseason for the franchise, I think. And maybe nothing happens. Maybe the quarterback coach, maybe they come back and kumbaya. I don't know. You saw the stands empty out though too. There is the business side of this for why you're not going to the games anymore, why I'm not going to the games anymore, and a lot of people I'll talk to don't go to the games anymore. I don't. I can't speak to that in regard to the finance, the money, your real life things you got to do, taking care of your mom on a weekend, whatever you're doing. But there is a point where the reality is they haven't backfilled those seats since we left them, Dennis.
No, they haven't. But Lamar has progressed enough to be a pocket passer. Now he can't he could didn't make the corner on a couple of runs the other night against the Steelers. But I mean, what was he last year? 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His arm strength is there. His touch is there. He has developed. He goes through his progressions. He's a keeper in my opinion. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. 2-time, it should have been 3-time MVP. That's the kind of guy you extend.
No argument unless he's unextendable.
Well, if he doesn't want to be here, that he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to sign up with the Ravens. He can also make him pay him
He doesn't have to
$74 million.
renegotiate either, by the way.
He doesn't. I think people, you're spot on. And people miss that he doesn't have to do anything, and he's a different cat. He's not. He doesn't have an agent, right?
He
He has his
doesn't even
mother.
have to pick up the phone.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have to come to
Look,
OTAs. He doesn't have to do anything.
he's
And
getting
that's part of the
paid.
part that's made him sideways with the coach
Right.
is not
Well,
being around to practice when the whole building revolves around Lamar. And I'm telling you, inside, outside, the whole building revolves. They practice later in the day because Lamar likes to sleep in.
yep.
So you know what I mean? Like he
Okay.
runs the building. And that's
Okay.
great when you're winning. It's not
But
great when you're John Harbaugh and you're not winning.
but
That's all I'm
their
saying.
fault for enabling him to do that. They're letting the tail wag the dog, with apologies, right?
But he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He's also doesn't get in trouble. He's a good
Well,
guy
then
by
let's
all
move
accounts.
practice to noon, Dennis. I mean, he's a good guy. Let's do it here. You know, we gotta.
Nestor, fact is they owe him 74 million next year. That that's he could say that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Well, Lamar, we want to renegotiate with you for the benefit of the team, give you more money, blah 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 blah. DeCosta's got his work cut out for him because this guy's different. He could just say, "Pay me my 74. I don't care about an extension.
The
I want
contract says
74."
74. That's what we
Yeah,
talked about 2 years ago.
I don't want 35. I don't want to kick the can down the road, right? I want my money now. And that 74 million that will disable the team from being able to sign some free agents. That'll help him going forward. So I don't know who can get in his head. It's going to be a fascinating offseason, just like the last time.
It's never fun when you're 8-9. You're not in the playoffs. Your nose is pressed up to the glass. But I am accepting at least that they weren't winning the Super Bowl anyway. So I'm
Maybe.
okay with it. But it is a lot less fun here and in Kansas City this week than it's been in recent years, which should that should anger up the blood of Bisciotti and DeCosta and Harbaugh and Lamar and everyone. And they should be as disappointed as the fan base is and as resolute to fix it. So this is their time to work on that. And you and I will be, as we've been doing for 30 years, taking a look at what they're doing out there. So, Dan, what else is going on, man? Family's good, life's good. People ask me about you all the time. You helped get me out of a jam last week, and I'm grateful.
Uh,
I mean, the only reason the car made it to Monroeville was because you got it fixed for me. So thank you.
Look, I'm bumping up against 62 here, and I've lost some friends, some family members. Just grateful, just hug everybody around you, kiss everybody around you. It's not guaranteed they'll be here tomorrow. So I'm just grateful. I'm at a point in my life I get to talk to great people like you. I have great people in my life, and it's just love and laughter and respect and appreciation. Can't wait to start fishing again. That's a
Dude, it's
spring
going to
thing
be
for.
60 later this week. Come on, get out the pole, man. Get
Ah,
out
you
there.
know what? It's the pole is good, but the water's still cold. Those fish right now, they're like zombies. They're hibernating. So you got to put the bait almost in their mouth to catch them. It's a whole different vibe. Now's the
Ah.
time for working out, exercising. How about that?
See, this will make what Planet Fitness is with me every day of the year, so I'm fine
Yes,
with that. So
yes,
there you go. Okay,
yes,
new
yes.
new location in Timonium, Dennis. I can hook you up with a black card.
Let's
So
go. Time to get in shape. That way we can add more value that we add to ourselves and more value we add to the people around us, our loved ones.
only
That's what it's
problem with
all
Planet
about.
Fitness when I go over there, I like that bed that water hydro. That's
Ah, there you go.
woo,
You
that's nice up in
you
there.
still doing the hot yoga?
Course, man. I mean,
My
that's
man.
how I'm lean and mean. I'm a
Lean and mean. There you
lean,
go.
mean, off-season machine.
Nice.
He is
Love it.
Dennis Koulatsos. He's selling cars over Coons 4, Security Boulevard. Anytime you pass exit 17 over there, just look to the right, wave to him. He's right across from Security Mall over there, out in Baltimore County. We've had a couple of Baltimore County executive candidates on the program. I am in Baltimore County. We are going from the county to the city to the country to the farm here this week. Kenny Mayne's going to be on with us later on this week. Barry Bloom talking some baseball. My dude Joe Poiley checking in from Tampa talking Oriole baseball. Matt Simon, Super Bowl 35 champion, as well as Brandon Stokely, Super Bowl champion. Dennis, that Super Bowl 35 team came in a couple weeks ago, and I ran hot with them on a Friday night with the trophy and old Silver Betty. You know,
Nice.
there's nothing like winning a Super Bowl. Sitting there with Trent Dilfer telling old war story. That's
Look, I'll take one more, Nestor, but just give me one more. That is just one more
well,
before I go away.
it's not going to happen this year. That's what they would say. It's what we've been telling the Orioles since 19. Maybe next year, Dennis. Maybe next year we'll win for you.
Okay. I'll
Next
keep
year,
hanging. Look, if the good Lord keeps me around, I'll keep hanging on.
next year begins right now. So
That's
in the
right.
meantime, we'll watch playoff football this weekend. In the meantime, we are into 2026. We're doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour presented by the Maryland Lottery and our partners at GBMC. Help keep me alive. Had a colonoscopy back in November. Found polyps. Please get yourself checked out if you're a dude, if you're a chick, if you're young, if you're old, if you think you're healthy like me. I'm having my first checkup about 6 weeks that I've had in years. Like I'm going to ask my doc, when's the last time I really had a checkup? He's going to say 19. And I'm like, that was last century? Really? So please, I have discovered good health and keeping my wife healthy. People ask me about her every day. She's great. It's me you should worry about. We're WNST AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Baltimore, positive.